Yeah, thanks, PK. Thanks, everybody, for being with us on a Sunday night. Excited to be in championship week, obviously playing an outstanding opponent, but really proud of the program to get back to, where everybody in the Big Ten wants to be, and that's an opportunity to compete for the Big Ten Championship. Our seniors have led us all year long, and to now get to this point is something that we're obviously very excited about. Going to be a quick turn for us, like a normal game week. So we got a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it. So a lot of coffee. I'll be a lot grayer by the time we get to Friday. And that's just me watching the Buckeyes on tape. They're an outstanding football team. Ryan and his staff have done just an absolutely terrific job. I voted Ryan Coach of the Year on my Big Ten ballot. I think he's just done an absolutely outstanding job. It started in the offseason. We had a lot, obviously, that was on our plate as head coaches, and his leadership in the offseason and his commitment to work his tail off to get this season up and going. I've always respected Ryan incredibly well. I mean, at the utmost level, and to see what he did all summer long was awesome. And then the way they've played clean in all three phases. They haven't really made a lot of mistakes. Maybe they've had a couple of trick plays that have gotten them, or some gadgetry, but they've just been so sound in everything that they've done fundamentally, everything that they do to attack you schematically. And then, their talent at every position speaks for itself. So going to be a huge challenge for us Saturday, but excited for the opportunity. So with that, I'll answer any and all of your questions. Excuse the post-game yelling through a mask voice. I apologize. You usually don't get me on Sunday. So, oh well, fire away.
Yes, Coach. Reminder just to direct message Athletic Communications to get in line and ask question. And when called upon, please state your name and what outlet you represent. We'll start with Eli Karp.
Hey, Fitz. Good evening. Last time in 2018, it was a pretty young secondary, and some guys were pressed into action due to injuries. Greg burned his red shirt, if I remember correctly, in that game. What can they take from that experience playing another very good quarterback and apply that in this one against another very good quarterback?
Yeah, good evening, Eli. I think, again, there's nothing more valuable than experience. And, I think that group has been, really consistent all year long. And now we're going to face our stiffest challenge. We thought we were going to have a huge challenge when we played Purdue, and that's nothing compared to the challenge this Saturday. I got to put together a great week. We got to really work hard at what we do fundamentally, our communication, so that we're all on the same page, because Ryan and Kevin Wilson, their offensive staff, they're going to put pressure on you formationally and try to get their guys in advantageous situations to be able to make explosive plays, be that space and time, be that vertical or horizontal stretch to attack your coverages based on formations. They do a phenomenal job. So we're going to have our hands full. There's no question. But the guys have been really consistent all season, and I'm really proud of them. But this will be a huge challenge Saturday.
Andy Seligman.
Sorry. Fitz, when you looked at where the program was this time last year, how close did you think you were to getting a quick turnaround and getting things back on track this year?
Yeah, Andy, good evening, buddy. Hope you're well. You look at, this year in comparison to last year, and it's the old coachism, right? I mean, there's like 6 or 7 plays in each game that make the difference. You just don't know which ones they're going to be. And as I look back, as you take it last year, yeah, we had, some issues at certain positions where we didn't play or coach as well as we needed to. But we still were in a bunch of games that we had every opportunity to win, but we just didn't play the way we typically do from a consistency standpoint. That's again, to credit our opponents. Where this year, you look at some of the games where, even the Michigan State game, we don't play very well early. We have some things not go our way, but we battle our butts right back into that game. And if we don't make a mistake, we probably end up having success there, but we didn't. And I think the group learned from it. And I think this group, going back to Eli's question about our secondary, kind of this group going kind of as a big picture, as a team, I think they've been through a lot. I think they've responded. And I was really proud of their response yesterday. We had we wanted to get back on the field as quickly as we could after the game in East Lansing. We obviously didn't have the opportunity to do that. We had to wait a week, and I thought the guys came ready to play yesterday, and absolutely horrible weather. And outside of really one play, I think we handled it pretty well.
Thanks.
Ella Brockway.
Hi, Fitz. Happy Sunday. So this will be the third year in a row that you guys play Ohio State in the season. From your coach's perspective and from the tape that you've watched, this team obviously doesn't lose a ton, Ohio State that is. But what have those teams that have beat Ohio State showed in the games that, like, what does it take more or less to beat Ohio State?
Yeah, well, we sure weren't very close last year. I'll put it to you that way. They probably would have had a better game against their twos in the way we played. So we're gonna erase that from the memory bank. But when you watch them on tape, they're gonna execute well. They're so well coached, and they attack you in areas and ways that they believe they have an advantage, either schematically and or schematically and talent to get a matchup. So that puts a lot of pressure. So what do you have to do? First of all, you got to handle your business. You got to prepare right. You got to put a great week of practice together. You got to be mentally focused. You got to communicate well, and then you got to execute fundamentally. You got to execute schematically, and then when you have opportunities, you got to take advantage of them because they will be few and far between. So, last year, I mean, at the end of the year, I mean, watching the playoff game, I don't know. I still think they should have won that game. I thought it was a pretty tough call, but I'm a little bit of a Big Ten homer, so I'll just leave it at that. I don't know. I was throwing stuff at the TV, but that is what it is.
Peter Warren.
Hey, Coach. Happy Sunday. A lot of the guys over the last week or so have been talking a lot about, embracing the moment, really sort of reflecting and enjoying the path that's gotten you guys to this point. With such a crazy season, how do you as a coach sort of help balance the guys embracing the moment, taking it all in, but also, being hyped and ready for arguably the biggest game of some of their careers?
Yeah, Peter, good evening. We're going to have fun. I mean, that's not negotiable. Anyone, I see Mr. Cadden up in the upper right-hand corner. He knows me better probably than anybody on this call. I believe in that three-letter word. I mean, if you're not having fun, I don't know why you're doing this. And especially this year, it's been such a challenge. But you know what? You got to have the right mindset. You've got to embrace it. You got to attack it with an attitude. And our guys have just been absolutely phenomenal. And, to go COVID-free all the way through the season. Obviously, we got one more week of the regular season, and then it'll be a couple-week turn, which will be a unique bowl experience. But, these guys have sacrificed greatly. They've earned the privilege to represent the Big Ten West by going undefeated on our side. I know there's some media members that don't think we should still be in this game, even though we went undefeated. But we did. So we get to go represent the West. So, Bo, proud of the guys. But, you look at the end of the week and you go, oh, man, not again. So here we go. But we're going to have fun, Peter. I promise you that. And I hope like hell they embrace it. As someone that won 2 Big Ten championships, I loved every moment of it. I would, if I could go back, I'd do it 1,000,000 times harder and I'd have 1,000,000 times more fun. But that's the way that we'll approach the week. We got nothing to lose. Let's go cut it loose and go have fun and enjoy the moment. And I know our guys will be excited for the challenge and excited for the opportunity.
And then specifically on Payne Ramsey, now that we've seen a full regular season, we've seen a lot of his on the field stuff that he's done really well and helped change the offense. What has he done off the field these last few weeks to really embrace, and change the focus of the offense this year? Yeah,
he's just a great leader, Peter. I mean, he's really consistent. I haven't seen him too high, too low. He's just been really consistent every day. He's like having a coach on the field. I mean, he just sees things. He has awareness of things. I mean, he got mad at me. I'd say he took a timeout on a play in the third quarter. And I was like, why? And he's just like, I was like, oh, all right. There's a little passion in there. All right. I like it. And I'm like, I'm not mad. I just want to know what your thought process was. So I don't know. To me, timeouts are golden. So, but he handled the situation absolutely perfectly. And he's just been great. He's been a joy to be around. It's just been a lot of fun, and he's done a terrific job.
Louis.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, Louis.
I got a couple questions for you. So the first one is, you were in this game 2 years ago on the big stage playing for the Big Ten title. What kind of lessons did you learn going through that experience that you can apply to this one?
Well, it's going to be very different, right? The atmosphere there a couple of years ago was only game in my experience at this level that rivaled it was the atmosphere at the Rose Bowl. So, I think that'll be a little bit different. It'll be a pretty big empty barn, and it's a great venue. It's a really cool venue. So, so that'll be a little bit different. But from how we'll approach the trip down to what our routine will be Friday night. And then, it's a little different again. It kind of stunk having it on prime time. I mean, it's cool for TV and all that stuff. And I love our partners at Fox, but when we earned the privilege of playing the game and I found out it was 11 Eastern or 11 Central, I was like, yeah, I wake up, have a little oatmeal, let's go tee it up. So I was pretty excited about that. So that the game day routine will be a little bit different than the last time we were down there. We'll have a different uniform combination. We'll probably have the same post-game meal. I don't know what else you want me to go over, bud. I mean, there's similarities, differences. Is that enough?
Yeah, that's fine. So the other question I had is this early signing period opens on Wednesday. How different has this year been, right? So this is happening during the season, which is odd. So you guys are really busy, but you haven't had the visitors and made the visits and traveled all over the country. So what's the whole experience been like?
It's been awesome. It's been great getting to know the families. Fired up for Wednesday. We sent the NLIs out this morning, I think it was, so they can check them and fired up, man. I mean, recruiting is the lifeblood of your program. How I feel about it. I love building relationships with families and young men. And I can't wait not to talk about it on Wednesday. I got stuff to do. So I'll probably just do a press release and you guys can have some fun and maybe we'll talk a little bit more on it. Right? Sound good, Paul? All right, good. Done. So check that box.
Jason Gay.
Tree, though. It looks nice, Louis. Tree looks nice.
Well, you tell me I look like Santa, so that's for you.
You're the most athletic looking Santa in the country, buddy.
Coach, Jason Gay with the Wall Street Journal. Question, you made mention of the fact that you've gone COVID-free this season. You got another week, of course, to go here, but that's a pretty significant accomplishment if you look at the context of what's been happening around the country. And I know you've talked about this in the past, but could you elaborate a little bit more on what you attribute that success to? Because that's a very significant concern in addition to everything on the field.
Yeah, no question, Jason, and good evening. Hope all is well. Well, it starts with our medical team. Dr. Mianis has been absolutely outstanding working with our Northwestern medicine health team. I mean, everybody down at Northwestern Memorial, everybody in our health services, they put together, I think, a great plan. And then Kevin Kikugawa and our athletic training staff, I thought, did a terrific job educating our players, our staff, our players' families, our families on our best practices and how we can best go about keeping each other, ourselves individually, as healthy and safe as possible, and then understanding the responsibility of keeping the entire program healthy and safe, understanding that every interaction could lead to, obviously contracting the virus and, doing a great job wearing these and washing these and staying socially distant. We enacted the plan in our building. We haven't deviated off that plan. If you were to be up in our offensive, defensive conference rooms right now as we're game planning, all the staff members are socially distanced apart. Everybody has masks on. When we meet as a squad, we do it in the Ryan Fieldhouse on Wilson Field. So every protocol that's been in place has been embraced by everybody within our entire football family. And I'm just so proud of our players. I mean, to me, that normal college experience you give up as an athlete already, and then to have, the COVID pandemic on top of that, our guys have just been so disciplined and sacrificed so much, and just really thankful for how they looked after each other. And then, Jim Phillips, our great director of athletics, and Mike Poliski, who's our sport administrator, and Travis Goff, they've done a great job assisting us in ways to be able to make sure that, we can do everything we can to keep our guys healthy and safe. And then, President Shapiro and the trustees' decision not to have freshmen and sophomores on campus was a concern of mine, because I didn't know how that was going to impact our freshmen and sophomores. But I think now as I look more kind of back, looking at the whole year, that was probably one of the biggest blessings that we've had as a team without having the normal population of students on campus. So I think all those things have combined in it, but the credit really goes to our players.
As things went on, did you get a little competitive about it in the respect that you want to keep this perfect record?
Well, of course. I mean, we want to keep everybody healthy and safe. So it's I think a little bit bigger than that. I think it's just trying to do everything you can to I mean, like, for example, I mean, we usually have date night as a program on Thursdays. I shut the office down and everybody's expected to go have a date with their family. And, I'm a pretty big loser to begin with, but Stace and I have been just at home with the boys, and the boys are going to quarantine all week. Stace's going to quarantine. They're not leaving the house. I go basically, I deviated today. I had to get gas. So I went to the house, got gas, and came to the office. Usually it's just my beautiful drive down Sheridan Road from Northfield. So we're batting down the hatches here, and one more big week to keep it rolling. But our guys are doing a great job.
And just a last quick question here. When the machinations were happening last week with respect to bringing Ohio State into this championship game, a lot of conversation happening about Ohio State and its success and why it would be a valuable, championship contender, and almost candidly looking beyond next Saturday's game into what would be a playoff situation, and what the stakes being getting Ohio State not just into the championship game, but effectively getting them to the playoff. And when you hear that kind of conversation, is that something you just tune out completely, or do you find that amusing or motivating at all?
Well, last week we were focused on our rivals, so I couldn't tell you that I saw a lot of that. I guess I'll do some digging a little bit, and I'm sure I'll get some of that information sent. But there's a reason why you play the game, so we'll be excited for the challenge because it's going to be a big one. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Andrew Golden.
Hey, Coach. We talk a lot about players using bulletin board material as motivation or fuel when they get on the field. As a coach, how do you channel your own emotions when people say things about your program and talk about your programs that you can't play physically?
And I really don't. I didn't use it as a player because when the ball goes up in the air, all that stuff doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And but gosh, it's great for blogs, and it's got to be unbelievable for Twitter. I mean, what a great stuff, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm probably this generation probably doesn't even go on Twitter anymore, right? You guys like now on Instagram or something? I mean, Facebook is like for your grandparents, right? Twitter's for dads and moms now. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever gets our guys going, I don't care. I mean, Coach Barnett used to make up all these T-shirts. I thought they were pretty cheesy. I cut the sleeves off to show off the pipe cleaners. I mean, so I just put together a great week of film prep, get your rest, eat right, put together an awesome week of practice, and show up and go compete your butt off. It's not a magical game. It's an awesome game. That's what makes it so much fun.
Matt Fortuna.
Hey, Fitz, thanks for doing this. I have another actually recruiting related question with signing day being in this weird date. I'm curious, how has your experience as a Chicago area high school football player influenced your relationships and your approach to recruiting this area over the last 15, 20 years?
Yeah, Matt. Good evening, buddy. Well, first of all, we're going to start and end our recruiting in Chicagoland. We always have, and we always will. That goes back to when I was a player. I always remember Coach Barnett and his staff having me host Chicago guys, and then when I was with Walk, we got every coach has an area, not only in Chicago but also in the state. Last week there was the Illinois high school football coaches virtual clinic, and it was a priority for. I mean, we got asked. I don't even know when, back in the summer or late summer, or early camp, and absolutely we were going to participate to support our great coaches here in the state of Illinois. It's the lifeblood of your program, and you've got to be able to. For us, we're a little bit unique, and it doesn't make us better or worse than anybody, but you got to be able to fit the expectations of the institution here academically. And I'd love to be able to recruit and keep every young man home in Chicago and experience what it's like to play for Chicago's Big Ten team, and experience the things that our guys are right now, competing for championships, and then even going back when I was playing, winning Big Ten titles and going to the Rose Bowl. I mean, there's nothing sweeter than doing it in your hometown. So that's a priority to us. but we also know that we can't recruit everybody. And at times we're not going to maybe be the right fit for some families, but we're going to be relentless in building those relationships. We're going to do anything and everything we can to support the great high school coaches here in the state of Illinois and Chicagoland and throughout the country. I mean, you look at our roster, we've got a ton of guys from Ohio. And that goes back. I'll never forget. I had, lunch. I mean, my first lunch, maybe it was with Coach Parsegian when we were down in Naples, and he just talked about the priority for us to be able to win on the academic student athlete in the state of Ohio. And you look at our roster. I mean, it's full of guys from Ohio. So it's the lifeblood of your program. The reason why this is a weird week is because we're all playing still, right? This would be typically the early signing period, which has now become the signing period. So I think it's the right thing to do it before Christmas, but it'll be unique because of the pandemic, but I still think it's the right thing to do.
In that same vein, I realize this is a question that could probably delve into an hour-long answer, so I don't want to waste all your time, but what did Larry Lokank mean to you to play for him in high school?
Well, Coach Lokank saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. He took me areas in my game that I never even imagined I could have. Taught me how to play the position. He was just such an amazing teacher of the fundamentals of linebacker play and defensive football. And, from your eye control to how to destroy blocks to proper tackling technique, communication. He had high expectations for us as linebackers, and he expected us to act a certain way, not some of the time, but all the time. And, when I came here to Northwestern, I thought the way I was trained in high school prepared me for what was going on the field. I wasn't mature enough to handle the challenge right away, but I definitely felt like I was ready and prepared for the schematic challenges that you have as learning a new language, learning a new defense. And Coach, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without Coach Lokank's teaching, without his, quite frankly, it was a calm demeanor, but it was a demanding approach. He didn't have to say a lot, but man, you sure didn't want to disappoint him. And I think if you were to talk to anybody that played for him at Sandburg or played for him at Providence, they would say it was a blessing to play for him.
Bill Rabinowitz.
Hi, Pat. Bill Rabinowitz from the Columbus Dispatch. How are you?
Yeah. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good. 2 years ago, you were very competitive in the Big Ten Championship game. I'm sure you thought, okay, we can build on this. Then you go through a 3-9 year, you make some coaching changes. How hard was that to do? Because I know you pride yourself on coaching stability. And how important was it that you did that? Yeah,
it was great seeing you though, bud. Usually we see each other during the Big Ten kickoff, so it's great to see you here at the end of the season. But it's always challenging. We've got, and I don't want to speak for every head coach, but your staff, you're so close with them, and I'm so thankful for all the guys that I've had the privilege to work with here. And you're in that in that bunker, foxhole, whatever you want to call it, football related, and spend so much time together, and you just form just really deep bonds and deep relationships. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. And, that's what I felt like after last season. It was just time for a change in leadership. And we made the decision to make a change. And you never want to do that. That's not ever the desired goal, but in leadership positions, that's what you're charged with. And, we still got a long way to go here as a program. We've got to be more consistent in all three phases, but we've been consistent enough to win another Big Ten West championship. And, I just think the future is so bright, and I couldn't be more excited. But it was last year hard. Yeah, it was harder on the players than it was on us. We're trying to find solutions. We're trying to find answers. And when they don't work, we got to move on to the next, and our guys got to live with it for 7 days. And, there's so much pride in, especially our older players. They wanted to get our pride back. They wanted to get our program back to where they believe it should be. And the credit goes to them with the way that they've played in the arena.
And I asked you last year at the Big Ten Media Days about Justin Fields, and you raved about him, and you knew then he was going to go kind of beyond where, you weren't going to be able to keep him, basically. The idea of having to face him for the Big Ten championship, I know you take a lot of pride in him and your relationship with him, but How tough a task is that going to be for you guys?
Incredibly tough. He's exactly what I told you he would be. I mean, he's an unbelievable leader. You just, again, me watching from afar, you can see it. You can see it in the way that he carries himself, the way he leads that offense and the team. He makes such great decisions with the ball. When things break down, he can make you pay with his athleticism. It's just been so impressive to watch as he's just continue to raise his game to levels that are just unbelievable. And I'm a huge fan in every game, but when we play, I mean, it's one of those where you're cheering for him, except when you got to go compete against him. So he's a heck of a football player and just a terrific young man.
Thanks. Nice seeing you again.
Yeah, great to see you too, Bill.
Dan Hope.
Hi, Pat. Dan Hope from 11 Warriors. Just to kind of follow up on that, what do you remember about recruiting Justin Fields in high school and what that was like?
Well, Dan, I remember our recruiting office showing me his tape, and I call him a 3-play guy. You pop on 3 plays and you go, yeah, he can play for us. And then you start to dive in a little bit more and you're like, this guy is unbelievable. Then you find out, obviously all the background about his family, and you find out, about who he was as a student, all those things. And you just like, this is potentially a program changing type player at the quarterback position. And I think we may have been the first school to offer him, I think, which I don't really get too caught up in that type of stuff. It's not the first or the last, it's the right one. But, we thought we'd take a hard swing, and we thought we built a great relationship. And then everybody else, I think, watched the same tape we did. And then we kind of got back to the back of the line. So, he's a great young man and a great family, and just so impressed by watching him play.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, you bet, Dan. Thanks.
Daniel Ollinger.
Hey, Coach. It's no secret that Ohio State has been the flagship football program of this conference for the past 2 decades. What do you think it would mean to the Northwestern program as a whole to beat them in this Big Ten championship? And what do you think it would mean to you personally to finally beat this team that's kind of thought of as the team of the conference?
Well, they've earned that. I mean, you can't take anything away from what they've done on the field, and that's a credit to their players, and they've had great ones throughout the years, and to their coaches and to that fan base that is outstanding. Absolutely outstanding, and the whole state is obviously. I know there's very few people that aren't, but that state's fully behind the Buckeyes, and it's impressive. As someone that loves Big Ten football like I do, it's impressive to watch, and you have the utmost respect for it. You tip your hat, and then you go and you get an opportunity to compete. So what would it mean? Obviously, it would mean that we would be Big Ten champions, and that's a goal of 14 institutions each year, and 2 of us get an opportunity to compete for it. So that would be something that obviously hasn't happened during my time. So personally, I would take great pride in the way that our guys played and the way our coaches coached, and enjoy the heck out of next Saturday night. Not gonna lie to you, be a hell of a ride home on I-65.
Joey Kaufman.
Hi, Pat. Joey Kaufman.
Is St. Elmo's open?
Dispatch.
Yeah, I might stay. I don't know, but go ahead. I'm sorry, buddy.
No worries. Just Joey. Wanted to ask a little bit about what you mentioned at the top about your Big Ten coaches, about going to Ryan Day and some of the kind of the work he did in the offseason. What did you see, or what in particular impressed you about that? I just wondering if you could touch on that a little more.
Yeah, just good evening. First of all, we were all as coaches trying to assist the Big Ten in every way that we could. And Ryan, I just think was relentless. He was in constant communication. We put together just a bunch of thoughts and ideas, and he was just relentless. And I think challenging every aspect of what we were doing to try to get somehow, some way to play Big Ten football in a healthy and safe manner. And Dr. Borchers obviously was instrumental in creating the planning with the medical consortium of doctors and healthcare providers throughout the Big Ten. And I just appreciate, respect, and applaud Ryan for his relentless effort. And, and that's not to shortchange what all the other coaches did too, but I think he knew the value of the Ohio State head football coach being relentless. And I think a lot of the credit for us getting going was, a lot on him and Dr. Borchers and a lot of folks there at Ohio State.
And just a question about your team for Ohio people in Ohio who's last remember seeing the matchup last October in Evanston. Where do you think your team has progressed the most since that game?
Well, I think we're much more efficient at the quarterback position. That would start there. I think we're a lot healthier football team right now than we were at that point last year. And I think it's just a different momentum. It's a different mindset. That game was a no contest. They probably shouldn't even shut their buses off. The way we played. So hopefully we'll show up and play better here on Saturday.
Eric Reinston, LaBelle.
Hey, Fitz. Indiana's defense has probably given Ohio State its toughest test this year. And even when they were getting pressure on Fields and forcing some turnovers, Ryan Day just started running the ball a lot and using play action. When a team like Ohio State can run so many different things to you on offense, how do you hone in on taking away specific weapons that they have?
Right. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm just going to be hanging out all week trying to figure that out, brother. If you got any answers, text me, will you?
Ben Chasen.
Hey, Coach. Happy Sunday. So you had a lot of success running the ball yesterday versus Illinois. That's been a concern at many points during the season. You're now facing an Ohio State team that ranks 6th in the country in rushing yards against per game at 95. What do you need to do that you succeeded in doing yesterday as a team to have continued success running the ball against Ohio State?
Yeah, always fundamentals, right? We've got to be cleaner fundamentally. That was probably our cleanest game yesterday. We've got to strain to finish blocks everywhere, up front, the tight end position, the wide receiver position. And then there's going to be guys that aren't accounted for, and we got to be able to run physical and run through contact and yards after contact. And I think we had somewhere close, I don't know the exact number, but probably over 250 yards of yak, yards after contact yesterday. So, that credit obviously goes to Cam and to Evan. So we just got to have everything operating, kind of as like the engine, right? If you don't have the oil, it won't work. If the pistons aren't firing right, it won't work. You got the wrong fuel, it won't work. You got to have everything operating the right way. And it obviously be a huge challenge against their talent. Like I said yesterday, their front seven is just violent. I don't know any other way. They're beyond physical. They're violent. And it's a fun group to watch when you're not playing them. And then you pop on the tape and our QCs and GAs go over the personnel report today. And I got up and walked out. I just was like, all right, so we're going to play, right? These guys,
And you talked about the writers who didn't suggested you shouldn't be playing in this game, but you're here anyways. In a season that's been so much for this team about gaining respect and not feeling like they get the respect they deserve, where does that rank amongst the Fight and Reese Davis's comments?
Yeah. It's just kind of funny. You got to earn it every day. Who cares? I don't care. If I got to do different things to motivate my guys, I don't care. I'll do it. But it doesn't mean anything to me. I think you earn respect with the way you play. And, I think our guys are maybe having a little bit of fun with it too. But, we just didn't play very well a year ago. And I still think a lot of the narrative right now, even though we're like in week 15 of the season, is 2019. And I don't know, maybe next year at this time, we'll be talking about this year's team, which will kind of be cool. So I don't know. We're a different squad. So hopefully we'll play better against an outstanding team here this Saturday.
Couple more. Eli Carp.
Hey, Fitz, you guys are outscoring opponents 62-3 in middle 8 situations right before the end of the half and right after the half. How much of an emphasis do you put on those situations right before and after the half?
Yeah, the final 4 and the first 4. Yeah, it's important areas. There's no question about that. I think it's kind of in every game, right? You look at the last few minutes of the first half of a basketball game, right? And the same thing at the start of the second half. There's a lot of times huge momentum swings that could happen during that time. And, it's our guys done a good job in that situation here this year.
Last question, Ella Brockway.
Hi, Fitz. The last one, you mentioned uniform combinations before, and I'm curious, A, what did you think of the Gothic uniforms on Saturday? And B, what is your favorite uniform combination that Northwestern wears?
Yeah. Well, I think those things on Saturday are sweet. I think obviously the purple being our school color, and then playing off the Gothic lettering and the Gothic gold throughout campus. I think it makes it really unique. It was one of the first uniforms when we sat down with Under Armour that they presented to us with the ivy on the sleeves, and just they were inspired as they walked around campus. So I think that's pretty neat. And I know the guys like that uniform too. And so that'll be a regular one in our deal. I wear shorts when it's hot and slacks when it's nice and sweats when it's cold. So I really don't care, whatever the guys want to wear. I think this year it's RCB is our player on our Unity Council that's designed all the uniform combinations with Eric Jackson, our great equipment manager. So those guys, they're kind of tasked to do that before the season. And then they send me a whole PowerPoint thing. And then we just kind of tell the Unity Council each Monday what we're going to wear. So just proud to be part of the Under Armour family, and they do a great job for us. And I don't know, whatever the guys want to wear, I'm cool with.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Happy Sunday. All right. Have a great one. Have a great week. Excited to be in the Big Ten Championship. Thanks a lot. Go Cats.